Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ayushwa. Good evening, Ashwin. I hope it is audible.
Sir, yes, sir.
Good evening, Vidisha. So I think audible it is. I hope it is audible.
Sir, yes, sir.
Wait a moment. I'll log in with the mobile also, so that it is easier for me. Okay. So shall we start? Uh, what last class we finished? Fourth class is it? Fourth class we finished. Which class did we stop? Women's issue we completed, right? We completed the women's issue. We completed women's issue, is it? Anyone? Last class? I think last class was last week, so I forgot. Uh, please do. Yes, stopped with life cycle. We stopped with life cycle approach, is it? Problems. We did not discuss solutions. So we did not discuss solutions, is it? We discussed only the problems. Ah, okay. So okay, so we'll see the solutions today. Okay, so in the sense that this we'll start with this, which is the okay. So I think we discussed this. So if you are able to see, so all the problems we have discussed. So now this is a fourth class. Now we have to see the solutions. Okay, solutions and what steps we have taken. In the sense that see, I would have we would have completed till 1850. We would come till then, and then life cycle approach. Okay, but 1850. In the first introduction, I would have told you in the framework. After 1850, Indian Renaissance, that is what social change happened in India. This is important as well. What social change happened in India is important as well. So because see this question, women's question arose in 19th century. 19th century is 1800s. So 1850 social reform movements, major issues and debates. See, major issues and debates we discussed. What are all the major issues? Now we will see one. So fast we, because you would have it in modern India as well. Modern India, you automatically have this portion called as social reform movements. But we'll just brush up through the social reform movement so that it will be easier for you to have a framework. Okay, so in the sense that you see this question, see this is from we discussed from 3000 BC till 1850 AD. I have given you a framework. Okay, I have given you a framework. You don't have to follow that. What you have to know is the problems. See this question: what are all the continued challenges? You have to write in the sense that we discuss what are all the continued challenges for women in India against time and space. Against time and space, what they are saying is against full whatever problem has been. So discuss that. Uh, Now the framework which I give was for your understanding, for your explanation, so that historically it will be easier to remember. So that is why I give. But answer writing, you have to take the points and write one point you have to write. Okay, what happened in political powers, what happened in education, what happened in marriages, what happened in property rights, each. So what are all the continued problems? So if you see the problems we would have discussed in the past, all the problems like child marriage, sati, or property rights not being given, or education not being given, or political rights not being given. This and all in first problems we saw. Then continued challenges. In the life cycle approach also, you would see that the same problems repeat. So continued challenges. So how it is you have tried. Yeah, we will address this question now. Say, see, then how does patriarchy, see this, patriarchy impact the position of, how does in working women it impacts? So we'll start with this point. So what we are going to do is that we have to take each problem, and we have to find the causes for them. So we have to find the causes for them, we have to find the consequences for them, and what steps we have taken. So we'll start with this question, which is what adverse sex ratio. Yeah. So before going into that, we'll finish. So this is where the steps taken will begin in a serious fashion, sex ratio. But before that, this modern India portion, 10 minutes fast, please, not line by line copy, don't do that. Modern India, you have spectrum. Modern India, they would have already covered this portion called as social renaissance, social reform movements. But just one glance I will show you what happened after 1850. Okay, so after, see, till 1850 we saw, or the problems from 3000 BC till 1850 we have seen. Okay, now what happens is that after 1850, this is the point which changes everything. After 1850, social reforms starts, because at 1800s people start realizing that what has been happening for a very long time is not a proper method for treatment of women, and society as a whole is being treated is having a problem because of that. And hence, if you see Western education, so plus why it happened in your history, you will see Western education starts coming into India. That is liberty, equality, fraternity. All these values which were there in the world starts coming in through the Britishers. And the second point, education democratized. So all these movements, actually education democratized means education is given to everyone. So when this happens, slowly the realization starts, and hence these movements start building. So fast up, please note it down. In that movement, first is Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So Raja Ram Mohan Rai, if you see, that is the point. Sati, the problem of Sati we discussed. Sati was a problem in from 500 BC itself, and it has references in Ramayana, and it has references, so many references in the people who had visited India. For example, I would have told you in Guptan Empire, Fasian visited, Harsha Empire, Huan Suang visited. All these people have, or the Marco Polo or Al-Biruni visited during 10,000 AD. All these people, it's in NCRT. Okay, new NCRT. There is a chapter where people from outside countries visited India. What was the contribution or social view of those people? This has been a question in mains as well. Please look into that question. But why we are discussing is, they all discussed sati. They all discussed in the sense that such kind of atrocious act are being happening in India. They have all chronicled that. And hence, if it is being done for a very long time, people had to take measures to remove that. And the first person being Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And you should also know that Raja Ram Mohan Roy's sister-in-law, so she was pushed into the fire. She was pushed into the uh, sati, or she was asked to, or she was made to perform sati, and he made it a point, or he protested how much ever possible, but he could not stop that. And hence he made it a point that it has to be a social movement through which this horrible act has to be stopped. And hence the movements he started, so Atmiya Sabha, and then Brahmo Samaj. And you should know that, so this you know, and this is enough. William Bentinck, abolition of sati in 1829. So because of his and many other people's effort, this was abolished by Britishers in 1829. So this is something which I had, so you can just go through it in the sense that this is from his article, one of his article. So he says that, see, the point what we usually say is that women are not meritorious. Women are not having all these capabilities of power or capabilities of any work possible. But the point you have to know is that when everything is denied, so you are being denied, first point, you are being denied everything, and then you are saying that they are not properly working, they are not properly they are not intelligent. So this kind of thinking started in 1850s itself. So first person is Raja Ram Mohan Roy, that is it. Now second person is Tarabai Shinde. So Tarabai Shinde, if you see, in the sense that, see, first we'll, so there was a person called as Jyotiba Phule. You would have known this. Jyotiba Phule. Okay. So he started something called as Satya Shodhak Samaj. Satya Shodhak Samaj. This was happening in Maharashtra. So he started, so Raja Ram Mohan Roy, all over India. This is a movement all over India happening. If you see, Raja Ram Mohan Roy would be in Bengal, but same way somebody had to start in Maharashtra. So that was a person called as Jyotiba Phule and his wife called as Savitri Phule. These two people started a movement called as Satya Shodhak Samaj, and as a result of which they also propagated emancipation or empowerment of women. And how they did means they started schools. So the problem where it arose, education was not being given, and hence because of that illiteracy and because of that exploitation. So why don't we first give education, and hence all other social evils can be removed. And that is what Savitri Bai Phule did, and with the help of both Jyotiba Phule. So and she was started a school in Pune, and this was the first school for girls. So 1800s. And the thing is that this Tarabai Shinde is member of this Satya Shodhak Samaj. This Tarabai Shinde, for example, she talks about all these, what to say, she is a housewife. So she is a housewife. She talks about all the, you would have seen many jokes about housewives being made, in the sense that they don't so housewives they have this complaint that husbands complain. So my wife does not get ready very soon, my wife does a lot of makeup when we go out, my wife is doing that, my wife is, all because of my wife I'm not able to do anything, wife is the reason why I'm, this kind of topic is there, this kind of thinking. Or you will have many patti mandarams and all, you know, because of my wife only, everyone will make jokes, all this jokes about wife and all. And this Tarabai Shinde first time writes about all these things. She being an housewife, she starts writing all these things and says that what is the reason? Has any man looked into the reason for why somebody is taking lot amount of time for getting ready? For example, you think about it. Men will have a very short hair, so you just pour water in the head and you just move on. That's it. You just have some towel or something, you move on. But women have that long hair, or in the sense that they are made to, culturally made to have that long hair. So when you have that long hair, you have to put, if you are putting water in that, now it will take a lot of time to dry. So this is one small factor which is the reason for why they take so much of time for getting ready. Even in spite of that, they get ready easily. But all these things, if you see society, even today it is there. But in 1830s itself, Tarabai Shinde has this movement for social reform. Has this movement for social reform where she talks about the points of women and what they go through. So this three you can have, and then you can talk about Henry Vivian Desrosiers. So Henry Vivian, one in Bengal, one in Maharashtra, and Henry Vivian Desrosiers is also Bengal. So Hindu College of Calcutta, he starts a movement called as Young Bengal movement. So this is the movement he starts, and in first thing Sati, first thing we address Sati, then we addressed education, then we addressed marriage and marriage related things. Now we come to child marriage. Now we come to polygamy. Now we come to ban of child marriages. So this Henry Vivian Desrosiers, he did many other things. Many other things he propagated, but he specifically asked for prohibition of child marriage, removal of this ban, or for example, ban child marriages. So this one point, and then as a result of which you see this female. Sorry, we will come to this point, but come here. So this is the, and next point is this Hindu Remarriages Act. So the name is, you can one person, one name, one thing. Okay, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. So that is how you have to remember and write also. When you are writing answers, what are the Indian Renaissance movement? What are all the problems? Means you write down one problem. If you remember the question, what they are asking is that discuss the issues which were there based on the Indian Renaissance movement. So first you write down the issues. Sati was there, child marriage was, polygamy was there. Small things you can write down. Sati was there from 500 BC. Child marriages because of caste restrictions which happened. You can talk about education. Education from a very young age it was stopped, or from a very long time it was stopped. So like that, first list down all the problems slowly, and then what are all the social reform movements? That is the question they asked. So in that one point you have to address. Education means you have to write about Jyotiba Phule and this. Sati means you have to write about Rajaram Mohun Roy. Then you talk about polygamy, child marriage. You talk about Henry Vivian Desrosiers. Same way, Hindu remarriages or Widow Remarriages Act. So you talk about Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Then there is some person called as Keshub Sen. So he actually takes over Brahmo Samaj, and he actually see this. He asks for intercaste marriages. So one problem they are sorting it out. One is asking for widow remarriages. One is asking for intercaste marriages. So each problem they actually solve. So this three you can take it down. So this in modern India you will elaborately study as well, but have this in mind. Okay. So shall we go to the next thing? Yes. Okay. So I'll now we'll talk about. So in a sense that one problem we discussed. Okay, or one problem we discussed. In that now what steps have been taken? That is what we are going to see, and the causes and consequences, and the steps being taken. So yeah. So now come to first problem, sex ratio. Okay. So whatever data I will give from in not only here now in this full class, whatever data I am going to give, it will be from economic survey. and it will be from National Family Health Survey. Okay, these two are the things which I am going to use for giving data. And in the first class or in the last class, I would have explained to you, nature has the sex ratio fixed as this. Okay, it is 950 girl children for every 1,000 boy children. Okay, but do you know the sex ratio of India? Any idea? Okay, 933. Just a minute. Okay, 933 is it? Okay, 913. Okay, 933, 913. Okay, so it is around the correct only. Nine. Actually, if you see, it is around 940. But the point is that this is overall sex ratio. That means it is total number of women in India, total number of men. So in the sense that they take the total value. So this does not give the picture right picture. What value you have to take is child sex ratio. Okay, because this number, why it is not giving the correct picture now, this will also include, for example, 60-year-old grandmothers and above age. And if you see, as I would have told you, the immunity or the immunity and resistance of women is high, so their longevity is high. Also, men have so many social evils like drinking, smoking, stress, accidents, and hence their mortality rate is high. So this number, which is 940, does not give you the correct picture of what is happening in society. What number will give you the correct picture? Not this child sex ratio will give you the correct picture. Child sex ratio in India, for example, it is 919 for 1,000 boys. Child sex ratio is 0 to 5 years. So in an area, what I will do is that in an area I will go and I will check that how many children are born, girl children are born for every 1,000 boy children. So in the area I can make a census out of it. No, when I make a census out of it, I can find the discrepancy. See this discrepancy, it is 950, it should have been 950, but it is 990. So missing, if you see, it is nearly 31 missing. And this 31, if you are able to see, it is a very huge number. Okay? And the reason for this only, and the reason for this is what we will see. This is what is called as a sex ratio or child sex ratio, where it should have been 950, it is 919, and this is very low. And the causes for that is what we will see now. Yeah, causes. If you see, first cause, I think you remember the anuloma pratiloma. Yeah, first cause is the social cause. Anuloma pratiloma marriages. I would have explained that in the case of caste system. In simple terms, I will tell you. In for example, men. This I explained that day. Men can marry this way, allowed. This is allowed. Okay, but women, that is, this is caste structure. This is caste structure one, or varna structure. Okay, men are allowed to marry this way, but women, if you see, they cannot marry this way. Not allowed. This marriage is prohibited. So if you happen to see, when this is prohibited, in simple terms, think about it. In simple terms, the number of men for marriage is low. Okay, when in economics you would have seen, when the value of a material goes high means when there is a huge demand, when there is huge demand. So for example, or think about inflation economics, they would have taught you how it goes means how the value of a property will go high when there is high demand for that property. For example, today remdesivir is not present, or in the market it is not available. Remdesivir for COVID, it is not available. So it is going for a huge amount of money. So the availability or the supply is low, and hence the demand is more, and you have higher value. Same way here you see this, men have a higher supply. See, supply demand only. So you should not think that what is this very crude way of saying supply and demand. Means supply and demand da. So if you see in overall society, when you see, so number of men, when it goes low, the demand will be high. When the demand is high, you would have to pay a higher dowry. This is the point. When you have to pay a higher dowry, is it in the sense that this happens especially in case of upper caste Hindus, or not Hindus also, upper caste. Okay, upper caste in any religion. Upper caste, if you see, they cannot, or they will not marry downwards. They have to marry upwards only. And when they have to marry upwards means that the number of people will be low. And when the number of people is low, you have to have a higher dowry. And when you have to pay a higher dowry, in 100 families, let us assume if there are 100 families, okay, 95% of the families will be poor only. I am saying in the same caste. Yeah, in the same caste or upper caste, if you see, let us take an example of one village. In that village, maybe 5 families from that caste will be a a higher wealthy family. The rest of the 95 family belonging to that upper caste will be in a lower class only. And this example you can actually match with the Theni also. Theni, which has happened, Theni in Madurai, or near Madurai. This is what I said that day, because this is what happened in the case of Karuthamma. This is what I was explaining that day. If you see in 1990s, the child sex ratio was going very low. And this sex ratio was going very low. As why? Because the same thing, the dowry was high in the caste which is present in that region, and that caste was supposed to be, or it was supposed to be an higher caste. So when you live in a higher caste and you have to pay so much of amount of money, this dowry will not be possible. And hence what you do, you simply kill the child. Infanticide. This is what the problem we saw, right? First problem, what is the reason? Now the reason will come here. It is because of dowry, and infanticide happens, and this is the reason why the same thing happened in Theni also. And hence if you see in Punjab, okay, in Punjab, Haryana, in Punjab, Haryana and all, it is less than 860, 850. That is the girl children. See this number. It's an alarming number. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. 950 it should be. How is it possible that it is 860, 850? Rajasthan also. It is low. Yeah, it is very, very low. And the reason there are many, that is what we'll discuss, so many reasons. First reason, we are discussing social cost in terms of marriage, and this is a very dangerous trend. So this is a very dangerous trend. And second point, what? So second cause. Okay, second cause, if you see, historical reason. Historical reason, what we can think about is that first, we said that son preference. So in the sense that the son preference or having male lineage or male lineage means, I think last class I would have explained, lineage is nothing but father, his son. So if you see, the property will be transferred like this only. Property will be transferred from here to here, and this is what is called as lineage, linear. So lineage. So in that, why if you see, they will this is true in every family in India also. You can see one male child at least it has to be there, otherwise the property will go away. So they will have this son preference very well entrenched. And especially if you see, in most of the region, but especially in this region, northwestern region. Yeah, northwestern region, if you see, this sun preference is very high. And you can think about all the regions in all these agriculture based region. In Kaveri Delta, if you see, or Krishna Godavari Delta, all these agriculturally productive regions will have sun preference. And this, you imagine, first Vedic period, I would have told you, Vedic period, it started with sun preference, because more number of men will have more number of working agriculture, more number of cow herding, everything will be profitable. And hence you can prefer sun. This started from there. But now the point, because of this, where it has reached? It has reached a low sex ratio. As a consequence, so cause, see this, one thing which started lightly, now where it has come means it has come in the disappearance. So Amartya Sen uses this word, disappeared children of India, in the sense that they are born, that is the point, they are not in this. See, nature, you cannot cheat nature. 950 is born. What happens to these people? Where are they going? This is the point. For example, in COVID also it is happening. COVID, and I think I wanted to start with that, but anyways, I forgot. And even see, and point is that even I'm not 100% because of what is happening outside. Many of my friends and many of my people I know are affected. Even I do not know what to do. So so I'm even, my mental state is not that well. So I wanted to start with that actually. So if you are I wanted to say, the point is that if you are not mentally fit also, or physically some problem, something, some family member or anyone, your friends might be affected, and it does affect you. Okay, so don't worry about that. I think UPSC will give you ample amount. This is what I wanted to start. I forgot that. As I told you, even I'm not 100%. So UPSC will give you a lot of time. Okay? Don't worry about any. Don't keep thinking whether they will postpone. They will tell you this, that. No, don't keep worrying. Don't keep seeing any updates which is happening. I can very well assure you, UPSC will give you ample amount of time for preparing this exam. UPSC also knows that this is a tough time for India as a whole, and hence, if you see, they will give you a lot of time. Okay, don't pressure yourself. But okay, this I wanted to say. But now coming back to this position, why I said means disappeared children. So in COVID also, it is said that the death rate. So death rate, actually the numbers are being very. They are hiding the numbers. It is true. The death rate they are predicting is into 5. So number of what number they are saying, it is actually into 5. And these into 5, who are they? They are disappeared. That's it. They don't have any identity. They are disappeared deaths now. So like this, if you see this number, which is 950, which should have been, but it is 860 or 870. It is very, very wrong to think that yes, only 860 are born. Something is going wrong. And was the sun preference is one reason. The social thing and female infanticide is one reason. And you can also talk about in this historical reason. Third point, you can talk about historical reason, partition also. during the time of partition, if you see, during the time of partition, if you see, or you can talk about, okay, you can, in the sense that this you can talk about three points under historical. You can actually, I am dividing historical into the sun preference, partition, and you can also talk about invasions, but same point only under historical now. Okay, well, just I'm distributing the points under historical. If you happen to see, this route will always be present in invasion route. And when you are in the invasion route, you have to know that first casualty of any invasion, first casualty of any invasion or war, or or destruction, will be women. Now first casualty will be women, and hence if you see in this region, most of the women were casualties of war or invasions which happened historically, and as a result of which those areas automatically have gone into a mode where they don't prefer girl child. That is why you can very well check even in today, this feature is there in Punjabi family, in Haryana. This feature of not preferring girl children, rather preferring male children, is even today prevalent, and that is why the movie called as Dangal and all was very important contribution to India. In the sense that Dangal is the area. Dangal, if you see, that area is nothing but the Haryana area, where this male son preference is very high. In that area, it is very important to make all such movies. For that, it reaches common public. Okay? So, and if you happen to see this invasion, the sun preference, and then as I told you, partition also played a part. During partition, each side resorted to high amount of violence, but they also resorted to high amount of rape and plundering villages. And this rape did not stop. For example, what they usually do is that they kidnapped, so from, they go to a village and they kidnap, and they have them as their whatever they'll have as one more wife, some kind of thing. This happened in partition, both the sides. In Pakistan also it happened, in India also it happened. So India means they took women from that side and kept it here, and from Pakistan they took wives or girls from here and they kept it there. So this kind of thing kept happening in this area. This barbaric, this is what, this is that is the point. When Dr. Ambedkar says that, or Nehru says, I will judge the development of a society by the way they treat their women in the society. It is a very simple barometer where you can check, for example, how this has been done. So when such carnage and such things are happening, it does not show a good picture. Yeah. So society is not peaceful, developed. It is true. But what we can do is that we can actually have these as 4 points, and as a result of which sex ratio, preference of girl child is low. Yeah. Fifth, you can write about technology. Yeah. You can talk about technology. That is, now you can know the sex of the child. In the sense that it is strictly steps, under steps taken, I will explain that, but it is strictly prohibited to know the sex of the child. Yeah. But Anna, technology gives you an idea, technology gives you a tool to know the sex of the child. This can happen. So when you know the sex of the child, what they usually do is that that is what, female infanticide. We spoke about all these things. This is the mode they use. This is the tool they use. So these are the reasons: unpreference, social cause, dowry, invasion, partition, everything is cause. What tool they use? Technology. So this is what, technology is a double-edged sword. Yeah, for example, in essay, if they ask, okay, double-edged sword, same way, words are double-edged sword. You can say a word and you can make a person happy, but Anna, you can say the same word and you can make a person unhappy also. That is what is called as double-edged. A word can be used which in which context you are using that word, it can be a double-edged sword. Same way, this technology can be a double-edged sword. It can be used for good things. For example, you can identify any what is that, child morbidity or child deformities under the pregnant women. You can identify using technology, but the same technology can be used for finding the sex of the child, and as a result of which female infanticide. And these are all the reasons where you can see that because of this, sex ratio is low. So this is the first point. So sex ratio was 19 I showed you. What are all the reasons? In the causes, okay, many causes. And you can talk about one other factor. Okay, you can talk. You see, you need not talk about only northwestern. Why I chose northwest is the northwest was the question they have asked. Another I have chosen. Or you can, for example, you can talk about this Naga tribe. In most of the tribe, actually in most of the tribe, sex ratio of women is high, because they are still in the phase where they are worshipping nature. And hence, as I told you, in Indus Valley civilization they worshipped nature. Nature is nothing but women. This is what they worshipped. And hence, in most of the tribes, if you see, they will have higher status than India. Than you compare India and other states, they will have higher status. But Anna, this Naga tribe, if you happen to see, their sex ratio is low. Why sex ratio is low? Same. This Naga tribe is like this invasion, or they keep fighting. They keep fighting. One tribe invades other tribe, and they take the babies, or they take the girls of that tribe, and keep it as slaves. And this kind of things happen. And as a result of which, you will have lower number of women. So these are all the factors you can have. And you can also talk about so here. So in general, you can talk about this as military culture. Military culture. What is this military culture? Means a culture which propagates violence, or it is like, and that is why it is. For example, okay, it happens in cricket, or that kind of masculinity is necessary. Okay, that kind of dominance is necessary now in a highly contested match. Okay? In a highly contested match, this when this testosterone is running very high, you can see the anger in football, in hockey, in cricket. This is true. This will happen. That anger, once you are actually running, means your body starts pumping all that testosterone, and you get ready for fight now. But what I wanted to say was that a society, how it has to develop, in the sense that even in cricket matches, if you see, uh, there is what I example I can say. Okay, I can say Virat Kohli, and I can say Dravid. So there are two kinds of people. A society, if you see, has to develop. This is my preference, what I prefer, and it is also, and it is a biased view also, you can take, because I like Dravid. Really, I like Dravid. But what I wanted to say is that a culture, if it has to develop, means it has to have some peaceful coexistence. If a culture becomes a very high militarily, that is, if it is a having courage, valor, violence as its very important causes, very important values, then that culture will not prefer girls. This is the point. So when you have a military culture, means and when you have violence, means your society will not prefer girl children at all. This is a point you can say. For example, that is a point. It goes to sex ratio, and that is one example. One example I say. See, that is not necessarily everyone has to be Dravid. No, I'm saying two views are there. How a society has to be developed. You can develop as Dravid is there, or you can develop as Virat Kohli. Both are necessary, but Anna, what this military culture has to reduce this violence, or showing that arrogance has to reduce in the overall society. When people are looking at you, you as a leader, you as a someone to look up to, you have to behave. Tomorrow you will be an IAS officer. You should not show arrogance at every level. You should show your power and authority, but it should not necessarily mean you overpower the other person. That will have an overall impact in your office and overall impact in how the office treats women employees. It's a very important. That is what all these, why they are making you read all these stuff, is that all these have very nuanced things where you can make a lot of difference. So these are all the crosses. Now we will go to the consequences. So what are all the consequences you think because of this? What are all the consequences? Low sex ratio consequences. What are all the consequences? No, all or not all, not all, no. Not all, in the sense that not all Naga tribes prefer. Uh, Not all Naga tribes prefer, but what I'm saying is, uh, in Naga tribes it is there. It is a violent. They have this culture called as head hunting. So if a tribe attacks other tribe, it is a culture to get your head, and they keep it as trophy. This was not now. It was prevalent in 1950s and all, and 1900s. Okay, but now it has reduced. But what I'm saying is that these are all military cultures. So what is the consequence means a low demographic dividend. You can talk about that, but Anna, you go directly to this consequence. First I told you, female, think about it. Female infanticide, okay, infanticide, as a result of which low sex ratio, how many 860 for 1000 children, you calculate it, how many brides will be available? It's a very simple concept. When number of women goes low, you will not have brides at all. And as a result of which, what happens, Ah, as a result of which there is less bride. And now what you do, no, you go from Punjab, Haryana. What they are doing is that they go to Bihar, and from there they get the bride, and they pay something called as bride price. Bride price is like dowry, opposite of dowry. Okay, opposite of dowry they pay, and they get women from Bihar, and they come. And if you see, so this results in low marriage, or you can talk about this. You can talk about this bride price. But this is not the only consequence. See this, there is a one more factor here, and this happened in China. Okay, China, if you see, China, China followed something called as one child policy. One child policy is having only one child. In 1970s, this was made. In 1970s, India had forced sterilization. Forced sterilization, why they had means to control population. Same way in China also, population was very high, shooting up very high, and hence they made a rule called as one child policy. That is, a couple should have one child only. And China is the same kind of society as India, son preference now. And when you are ordered to make only one child, that child will always be a male child. And what happened in China also, sex ratio went low. And the sex ratio went low, hence in China also, if you see, there is no bride. And you know what they are doing? They go to the Southeast Asian countries. If you see Vietnam, Laos, the countries which is down, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and they go there, and or Malaysia, and from there they take the bride. So in China there is no bride, And same way here, they go to Bihar and they get it. But one consequence you should know, bride from Pakistan, actually bride from Pakistan, whether they take, I do not know. Maybe Uyghurs, China Uyghurs they can take, but I do not know. But Southeast Asia they take. But in internal security, you would have learned one thing. Internal security, this thing called as in India, it will be like a triangle. This is a triangle. For example, Hong Kong, Southeast Asia, this is a triangle. This triangle or crescent is very famous for cocaine or drugs. Drug running is very high in this region. This triangle you will study in or crescent. It is called as triangle or crescent. There is one more crescent in Afghanistan here. Afghanistan, Central Asia, and Pakistan. It will come here. Okay. Here in Central Asia, it will be here. And this Afghanistan. Afghanistan is the area where all these drugs are grown. In Afghanistan, all the drugs are grown, and the distribution center is in Pakistan. Yeah, and from Central Asia it goes to China and Russia. So there is two triangles here. Yeah, this triangle which I am talking about is in Central or Southeast Asia. The point what happens is that, as I told you, brides are not there. They take women from Southeast Asia to China, but Anna, this also leads to something called as trafficking. Okay, or trafficking. See, the point of all these is that people who are criminals will be watching very cautiously. They will monitor each and every moment for exploitation. For example, even in times of COVID, there are many, in the sense that many children whose father and mother are getting passed away. That is, they are both are getting affected, and they are girl children or boy children. They are being, in the sense that they are being left out as orphans, which is happening right now. Okay? But Anna, many are coming forward and putting their name out. That is, this child has been orphaned, so anyone wants to adopt them, please adopt them. But the point is that these traffickers will be watching that. These traffickers, they will not think this is COVID, people are getting affected. No, they don't even care. They are sociopaths, or they are psychopaths. Okay? They don't have this sympathy, empathy and all. So they will be watching very cautiously, and every step we take, they will use that step to go against it. So the point what I'm saying is that this bride thing which is happening, they formed some kind of middleman. So they formed this some kind of middleman, and they traffic women in the name of marriages, and they take it to China, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, all these things. Point what I said was, this is a drug prone area. This drug prone area, when drug, the point is simply true, in the sense that when you're transferring drug na, they won't give you money. Okay? Money, if they give, the transaction can be easily monitored. In internal security, they will tell you about hawala and all. So if money is transferred through all these networks na, you can easily catch it. Okay? Easily, this person easily puts wrong. Yeah, but Anna, what they do is that they transfer drug and they traffic women. They pay with women, because this network of bride price is happening. So this network, what they use is that they use it for trafficking. So you can see one small thing. Yeah, one small thing, it's not a small thing, but you can see that what is there in 919, what is there, it's a simple thing then, maybe 919 girl children only born. One small thing goes here, and it creates a social problem, it creates as well as criminal problem. Okay, well, this bride price, if you see, it will also lead to something called as trafficking. So this is an example. This is an example which you can talk about female infanticide leading to bride price. You can, second point you can write, 2 points you can write. So trafficking, split it, trafficking. Okay, so female infanticide, bride price. Then second point is consequences, trafficking. Third point, you can talk about what is called as uh, violence. Both violence in general, violence in society. Okay, violence in society, violence. So this is society. Violence against women. And if you happen to see this data which I'm saying is National Crimes Records Bureau, in the sense that if you happen to see this, noted down, you can note that this point, you can note it down, where and all violence is very high, where and all violence is very high. When you become an IAS, you can actually plot and you can find out the regions where it is very high, the regions where if you find that violence is high, violence not only against women, all dacoity, murder, whatever violence, you can actually map the region to low sex ratio region. If you see northern India, northwestern Uttar Pradesh, Punjab or Haryana, all these or Bihar, all these are Rajasthan, all these regions are prone to a lot of violence. According to National Crimes Records Bureau, very high amount of violence happens in Uttar Pradesh, and see the level of governance which is happening. See the level of governance which is happening. It is nothing but how they treat women. Simple. You can in one word, if you ask me one word, how to improve Uttar Pradesh. Okay, how to improve Uttar Pradesh means you have to improve the status of women. All of them. You have to give them education, you have to give them health, you have to give them equal opportunity, you have to give them, make them same as men in decision making. If you do all these things, Uttar Pradesh will be a better state. Why Uttar Pradesh lags behind all these things means, it is not because it is a big state. No, it's not because it is a very big state, it is a poor state. No, it's not true. It's one of the its GDP is very high, its GST ratio is very high, or GST subscription is very high. In spite of that, it is very low in governance, HDA index, or you can think about peaceful index, or whatever violence is happening. All this will come to one point where how it is treating its women. And if Uttar Pradesh have to change, na? Okay, what is the question? Just a moment. That is what I'm saying. Sex ratio when it goes low. See, this is an anthropological. See, that all I am saying is this overlaps. Okay, but another, if you ask me reason, it is anthropological. Okay, what is this anthropology now? Uh, Human beings as society, if you see, we are born to make peaceful coexistence now. We want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to live their life. Everyone wants to have better education. That is what we are. Everyone wants. But in regions of these low sex ratio, you will find many these unmarried men. You can say unmarried, or they will not have these. See, whether you have empirical evidences for this, na? Yes, anthropological evidences are there. So many. What I am saying is sociological things which we discussed. The National Crimes Records Bureau, violence overlaps with so low sex ratio. That is sociological. If you ask me about the biological and anthropological reason, because they will have more unmarried things, and they will have this what is that? What is that called? Means you can say uh, this low sexual deprivation. All these, if you see, see, this can actually seem like I am making it up. No, this is anthropology. Yeah, anthropology, biology. You ask the reason, I'm telling you. Biologically, India, mainly India. Yeah, India is most sexually deprived society. Yeah, you see all the misogynistic or people who make see, don't what to say, don't blanket cover everyone, but the misogyny, that is treating women badly, and this is one of the major reasons. And that is why you see sexual abuse is very high in middle-aged men. If you see, especially middle-aged men, middle-aged what to say, project leaders, middle-aged people, middle-aged professors, all will be involved in this thing called as abuse. And why means because of the sexual deprivation. And this sexual deprivation is because of our society. We have made it a point that, oh no, no, this is a very, very bad thing, which, but as a society all these are very necessary, and these necessary, they don't do that, and when they don't do that, it goes into this crime. And we are seeing the consequence. You see the consequences which is happening, which now goes into which now goes, that is what we this link will go somewhere. Okay, one link, it starts and goes somewhere. So third is this violence, and fourth is objectification of women, objectifying women. A society, if you see, will be objectifying. Same. See, it's a very simple calculation. 950 for 1,000. Okay, it should be 950. Then, as I told you, the lower number of men will be unmarried, the lower number of people will be having this sexual deprivation, everything. But the point is that when you have 850, now you don't have all these. You think about it. It's a very simple fact. Uh, what in movies they show is that that person will be a rowdy and a girl will come and change. I don't say that is and all necessary. That is not necessary at all. It is not the work of anyone to change anyone. But Anna, in general, if you have to bring down the violence in a society, in general, if you have to bring down the peacefulness or bring up the peacefulness in a society, it has to have higher sex ratio where there has to be peaceful coexistence, and whatever normal things a person should have, that has to happen. Otherwise the problem will all these comes. And objectifying women, you see how in movies this objectification, there is a song, peculiar song, item number. What is that song? I have no idea. Now nowhere 50 men surround a woman and they dance. Okay, maybe some one restricted places are there, someone 1 2 3 places, okay, but it does not happen in society. But how we portray in movies itself, if you see most of the Vijay movies or Bahubali or whatever movie or Sheila Ki Jawani, whatever movie you see, it's complete objectification. And biologically, anthropologically, next topic I will show you. There is no major difference between the body composition of men and women. Both are literally a part. So what the subjectification is done, all this because, see, it's because of this low sex ratio and all these things. So this is the consequence. Causes they keep asking. Okay, causes they keep asking. Consequence they asked once in anthropology. That is why I gave in because usually we can write the causes of low sex ratio, but we cannot write consequences. What are the consequences? If you are able to, in GS paper also, if they ask sex ratio and problems, you write on 3 4 points consequences. It will look good. Okay, it will look good. But next, after consequences, you have to write the steps taken. Always, this is important. So, what are all the steps taken? You can list it down. Beti bachao, beti padhao. Okay, well, in Theni, in the case of Theni, I explained. If you see, that is what Karutama, and that movie became a hit. And at that time, Jayalalitha was the chief minister. The case in which she was convicted, actually the disproportionate case, is during this period only, 1991 to 1996. And this movie came around 1993. So all this incident, also low sex ratio, happened in that period only. But that is what politicians politicians, we usually group them into very bad politicians, very good politicians. No, all are actually bad in some way, but all, how we have to judge them is not based on the corruption they do, it is based on the work they do. If you see Jayalalitha, yes, actually the same case, corruption case was against Jayalalitha on that period only. But Anna, she started something called as Tottil Kolandai Thittam. Yeah, Tottil Kolandai Thittam. It is called as Cradle Baby Scheme. Cradle Baby Scheme. In Tamil Nadu, it is there. Even today, it is there. Okay, that is, if you are not willing to grow the girl child, you can drop it into that government facility. Government will take care. And if you see Teni, as I said, this Teni issue was rampant. Child sex ratio was low, and they were Kalipal. That is what they had this thing, and they were killing the baby. But if to this time I checked National Family Health Survey 4, I checked. National Family Health Survey is not only for state, you can actually get it for district as well. So district wise data is also there. For Teni, I checked. Uh, when you are going for interview, you can go for district. When you are writing mains, state data is enough. Yeah, I went to interview, so I got this data. You don't have to know this data. District data don't know. State, for Tamil Nadu how much, for Punjab how much, you should know that enough. Yeah, but I checked this Teni child sex ratio, it is 1300. See the change which has happened. This is what social changes, this is what leaders do, this is what people in power can do or can achieve. They can do wonders. We will not know this, no one will know this. Cradle Baby Scheme, she started, that's it. She went away, she's passed away, that's it. But Anna, now 1300 children are living, where it went down to 850, now excess 300. So this kind of this is why, this is the point, this is the whole point of learning all these things, is that you can think nothing will happen. Oh, what is society will be society. It is not true. When you are making some effort now, it will show. But maybe later somebody else, other same in same movie, Kamal Haasan movie, they say la, whether neenga potadu, but Anna, I mean, somebody will reap the benefits of the seeds you sow. So this is what in governance also is true. So coming back to this Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, there is also one scheme called as Dhanlakshmi scheme. What this scheme does is that female infanticide happens, so people are killing. So what you do, basically some simple thing, you deposit a very simple step. This step actually made huge amount of difference. I saw the data is true. It was started in Tamil Nadu. Actually, this Dhanlakshmi, or Tamil Nadu has a different name, I think, but it was started in Tamil Nadu. Now, government of India also does that. What they do is that they are killing the girl child. So what they do, they start a bank account. When a girl child is born, the Asha worker. So first, this Asha worker will have a note. Asha worker is the ground level worker. You will know. You would see in every village. Okay, they will. Suganya. Okay, Suganya Samriddhi. Have they changed it to Suganya Samriddhi scheme? I didn't know that. Okay, if they have changed it, please note it down. Okay, but Anna, same. What the scheme is depositing scheme. You do deposit, then what you do? Only 18 years. If the girl turns 18 years, you can take the amount. எவ்வளோ ட்ரிக், இதான் ட்ரிக். This and all, see, this and all is a trick. How ground level changesலாம் ஹேப்பன்னா, நானே இட்டாலாம் நடக்காது. If you say change, they will not change. How you have to devise, you have to think, you have to make plans, you have to make policies. You are the bureaucrat, you are nation builders. Okay? IAS officers are nation builders, because they will devise plans like this. You see, simple trick. When you are having this, then what you do, you have Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Okay. Oh, is it? Okay, okay. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. uh, Maheshwar, it is very good, very good. So that is the point. And the point on the that is the point. You have this scheme, you deposit an amount. What happens is that you have next point you have to do. Not only this one point, then you have to do Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Then you have to get right to education. All these clubs together. Okay, all these clubs together. So right to education, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan you give. Next, midday meal scheme. Nothing. So for in Tamil Nadu and all, they give school uniform. They give you textbook. What you want, you come and study. That's it. You come and, for example, laptop. Okay, I'll discuss that later. But I'm saying, when you do all these things and you will automatically increase sex ratio. La? This is the key. And Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Third point you can say, actually, there is a law. Okay, well, there is a law, preconception, prenatal sex identification. Okay, please check this law. Okay, sex identification. Asha workers, you see that is they are the ground workers. La. Asha workers will have a notebook. Yeah, okay, when first point, when a girl gets pregnant, okay, immediately when a girl gets pregnant, the Asha worker will note it down. This village, this what is that? In this village, in this house, this woman is pregnant. Every 2 months they keep going. So give the pregnancy amount and to give iron tablets. So they will keep monitoring. Okay, one monitoring. So at the end of the 9th month, the accounting should tally. La. At the end of the 9th month, each Asha worker will tally. If the tally goes below, and the girl children are going below, now some problem has happened in the village. Immediately you can, because there will be so many quacks. Quacks are poly doctor. Quacks are yeah, they will do something and they will remove that. But the point is that the Asha workers also are very important. And this will be for quacks, but for hospitals, for how do you prevent big hospitals? A preconception, prenatal sex identification prevention act. Okay, preconception 1992. Okay, please note this act. Go and check this act. Okay, I may not have worded it correctly. Preconception, prenatal, because it is a very big name. I may not have worded correctly. But basically, what it says is that you cannot find the sex of the child. So if you go to, for example, you go to any hospital, any nice big hospital, they have this in board, they have this law in board, they have to write it down. In this hospital, sex of the child will not be, or gynecology hospitals, if you see, they will have specifically in this hospital, the sex of the child will not be found, because we have something called as preconception prenatal act, and it is a punishable offense. As a collector, the hospital can be whichever hospital. Okay? That hospital can have links with Bill Gates also. Okay? If tomorrow you find that there is a problem, these fellows are creating these sex selection abortion, you as a collector, see the amount of power. You as a collector, you can close down whichever hospital you like. If the hospital is in violation of this act, if the act matto that powerful, if the act is being violated, you can close down any hospital. Okay? No CM, no PM, no one will come and question you. Okay? The hospital has to face criminal charges. Only then it can be opened. Okay? See, that is what all this is not true. As a collector, you cannot do anything. As a collector, you will have political pressure. All this nonsense. If you are a true person with integrity, you can and knowledge. You should have the knowledge. When you are fighting people like big hospitals, now you should know your law well. If you are not well read, knowledgeable, they will thrash you. Okay? But this is the thing. Now we will take 5 minutes break. We'll come back again. We'll see the rest of the topic. Yeah. So one. So like this sex ratio, like this one problem, step what we have taken. That is what we will see. So all the problems which we saw, for all the problems, causes, and the steps we have taken, small steps. Okay, so we'll take 5 minutes break and we'll come back again. Okay. So we'll start again. Okay. Start again. So next is this something called as sexual harassment. Sexual harassment, which happened, and what is the causes, and causes, basically causes they don't ask. Okay. They don't ask causes and all in exam, but what is we'll see what is the anthropological cause, and what steps we have taken. Okay. So in this there is a predominant misconception. This is the point. There is a huge misconception that it is because of someone's dress. It is because of someone's dress. It is because of how they behave, or what place, or in pub if they were there in pub or place. Sure. If you happen to see, this is the reason they give for sexual harassment. Yeah. But Anna, what anthropology says, okay, what anthropology says, or what biology says, okay, what biology or anthropology says is that there is a person called as there is a person called as Jane Goodall. Okay. Jane Goodall, she is a primatologist. That is, she studies primates. So she is one of the most important scientists alive today. If you see, one of the most important scientists alive, and she is being talked about for giving a Nobel Peace Prize. So in this year, there was a talk that she can be given the Nobel Peace Prize. So she is such important person. She studies primates. Primates means nothing. She studies chimpanzee. And in first class, I would have told you chimpanzee and humans are 98%, 98.5% similar. So humans, if you see, you take the DNA of humans, you take the DNA of chimpanzee, it will match 98.5%. So chimpanzee is like our cousins. Okay? You can think about chimpanzee as our very close cousin now. And what she found, what she found is that there will be two tribes of chimpanzees. Okay? There will be two tribes of chimpanzees. So tribe 1 will be here, tribe 2 will be here. And what happens is that in this tribe, there may be a male, among the chimpanzee with the lowest self-esteem. Okay. Lowest self-esteem. Why lowest self-esteem is because of many reasons. In human beings, what I will tell you, but in chimpanzee, basically you don't have same. See, you will not get wife. So in that animal world, you will not get wife. You will not be very what is that? You will not be very successful. So there will be a chimpanzee which is having this low self-esteem, and what happens is that as a result of this low self-esteem, it comes out of this band which is there. But what happens is that in from the other band, if for example two women or three women, they come together at some place, this chimpanzee will not do anything. But Anna, someday when one of the chimpanzee or women chimpanzee comes alone, yeah, that is when this chimpanzee makes its move and it actually rapes. But it does not stop with that. It rapes and it disfigures. Okay, it disfigures means it breaks his, it bites, and it actually it the female will go in the stage of death. Okay, this happens, or usually die now because of excessive bleeding and many other things. But this act, if you see, why I am saying is that, see, the reason which they give is that dress is not proper. They are having this what is it, pub, they are having this in this place. There is no reason connected with all these things. The reason why all this happens is that this thing which happens is that there was a person actually uh, in a sense that this reason why it happens is that because of a person with lowest self-esteem happens to conduct or wants to prove his manliness. And this you can think about in Nirbhaya's case also. In the act of Nirbhaya, the point was that it was not the dress she was wearing, it was not the boyfriend she was wearing, nothing. If you read the FIR, the FIR reads that there was a confrontation between these two people, and as a result of that confrontation, that girl said something. That girl actually abused this fellow who was the driver or something. He abused her, saying, "What right you have to ask me," something like that. And that is the triggering point. He said that that is the triggering point. How can she say something like that to me? So I wanted to teach her a lesson. So if you see, the reason people give for rape is lust. It is not true, and it is never true. Or you can think about it in this way. For men, it is very hard. That is what all this cinema and objectification, we think that this is how it is. But you yourself introspect on yourself and you think about it. This lust will come towards one person. Yeah. But Anna, this rape is about not about lust. It is not about lust. This is about proving a point. This is about proving a message. This is about proving a message. And that is why, if you see, whatever dress someone wears, whatever the girl wears, or wherever she is, for example, there may be a group of friends. Okay, there may be a group of friends partying. They can go, and some girl can get raped. It is true. It is not that it does not happen. It happens a lot. Actually, it happens a lot, and we see that, okay, they went for friends, they just had booze and they had this kind of attitude is there. What we think is that this person was wearing a revealing dress or something. Okay? But the point you should know is that this act will not be. I can point out so many studies. It is not performed, or it is not done by normal people. It is done by persons, and this abnormal person can be a CEO of the company, can be a DGP of the state, can be whoever he wants. But Anna, this even in Chennai, many other places, Chennai, not only Chennai, you take whatever example you take, the Pollachi incident also you take. It was not about those fellows. Why the point is that those fellows did not. This was not the most important thing. They wanted to get the money. They wanted to get the money and use the. They trafficked those women. That is the point. They wanted to have that money, and this is about proving your masculinity. The point. It is never about lust. We actually confuse these two things. What happens is that. What happens in the point? What happens is that in men, maybe 10, yes, 10 will be there. Okay. 90, okay, 90 or not like this. Okay. Usually not usually. Confirm 90 or not like that. But what we as men, so this is the point. They use this tag called as men will be men. I think last class I told you, men will be men. This tag itself is wrong. This was said by a scientist who was a fraud. The point what is that what we do is that when these 10 people do such acts, what we immediately do is that, hey, it's men will be men. It is like this only. It happens. We have this attraction. We confuse attraction with this. Other point. Attraction everyone will have. See, you will 10 loves you can have. You can 10 loves, 10 and 20. You can have how much? Same way, men, female, both. You can have 20, 30, whatever number. That is love. Yeah. And there will come lust. Yes. Okay, it can come. You can have 10. That is your point. But Anna, the point here, what we are talking about is about consent. Yeah. It is about the people who are with the low self-esteem, who use the power of being a male and they involve in such acts. This one small distinction, if you that is why whatever dress you wear, it's not going to matter, because if you see 0 to 8, 0 to 18, 0 to 18. So Asifa, she was a very young girl, chinna ponna, 5 years or 6 years something. Or I saw newspaper 0 to 4, some child was raped. It, this keeps happening. What dress the child? What is that wearing? எனக்கு புரியல. So if you happen to see all the data, it is not because of the dress that person is wearing, or somebody, a burqa wearing lady is being raped, what dress she is wearing. So nothing about dress or nothing about the place, nothing about it matters. uh, the only thing that matters is that there are men who are having this low self esteem, who are being taught this, who are being taught through culture, movies, who are being taught through so many avenues, that in order to prove your masculinity. So how do you prove your masculinity? Yeah, in movies also they ask Neela or Ambalaya. So the point is that in order to prove this masculinity, what our society construct is this act. But Anna, this is not true, and this is done by people who have very low idea of what this issue is. And it but the point is that they are in cinema, or whatever field, they are in the top, and hence it becomes a value system for our whole society. But when you go and you become the DGP of a state, you become the chief secretary of a state, you please change it. That is the point, because there is no evidence for that. What they are saying is through this mental image of something which is horrible. But now come to this point. So what steps we have taken? So there is something called as POXO Act, Prevention of Child POXO, Prevention of Child Sexual Prevention of Child Sexual Abuse Act. Okay? Before, in the sense that this is actually for boys also. Both, this is gender neutral. That is, child means less than 18 years old. If they are being raped now, they can be booked under POXO, Prevention of Child Sexual Assault Act. And this act is a very stringent act. This act is a very stringent, or it is a very heavily punishable act. Yeah. So this law you can write, and for 18 above 18. So 18 and above, you can talk about prevention of sexual violence at workplace. Workplace Act 1930. Prevention of sexual violence. You see, whatever law I say, please go and check the full form, because I am writing a full form, so I may miss some words or misspell some words. But you please go and check it. Prevention of Sexual Violence Act at workplace. And if you see the history of it, in 1990s, there was a person called as okay, I think. Okay, there is no harm. Okay, I'll mention the name. Devi. There was a person. She was an NGO worker. Okay, NGO worker. Her name was Devi. She stopped the child marriage. She stopped the child marriage in Rajasthan. So she stopped the child marriage in Rajasthan, and the child was less than 10 years old. So she was working for an NGO, and hence she stopped that marriage. But as a result of which, and the child belonged to the upper caste in the village. So what they did was they some 10 men, some 10 or I don't know, 10 or 8 something, they raped her, and this became a very big issue. And they raped her in the sense that, this is what I said. There is nothing lustful about this act. This is done to prove a point. So if you are interfering in our culture or in our society, you will be punished like this. So this is a direction to her as well as society. So this is a direction to society as well. So other women will also be afraid of this act. So this is the point. This is done by these fellows for proving a point. This is nothing to do with lust. And the same is the case with any person who is involved in sexual assault in bus, whatever train, whatever they do, there is nothing lustful in that. And if you see why they are doing is that they are really in a very bad state of mental health. They are in a very bad state of very low self-esteem, and this does not show. They can be rich people also, they can be rich whatever. That is the point. Who, it can happen to anyone also. Yeah. And that is why it is necessary to have a high self-esteem, self-confidence, live peacefully, be gentle to each other, humble. All these values, if you see why society compassionate, empathetic, all these society, why we are cultivating all this, why we have an ethics paper, all this is necessary for the society as a whole, which gives a good peaceful society. Yeah. So in this case, this was happened, and this issue went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, please punish the people under a specific act. Okay? Please punish them stringently. But what the parliament said was, there is no act for this. Okay? No act for this, and we cannot punish them under any special act. But Supreme Court said, you have to make an act. Yeah, but at that time, 1990s, if you remember, there was a lot of problem politics going on, and hence, hence they said we have a lot of problems. We cannot make a small issue. We cannot make them. They said, and hence what Supreme Court did? Supreme Court made a law. This is called as Vishaka judgment. This is what is called as Vishaka judgment. And in this Vishaka judgment, the Supreme Court gave a direction. You please check the direction. There are 4-5 points. Yeah. In that 4-5 points, what Vishaka judgment will say is that any workplace, you should have a committee. You should have a committee for investigation sexual harassment, and this should be headed by a woman. Because this should be headed by a woman, and the committee should report as soon as possible. If found guilty, criminal action should be taken. Okay? And you should have this judgment, it should be pasted everywhere. It should be pasted in the workplace, so that everyone knows, everyone, in the sense that everyone should know that there is a law which prevents you doing. See, that is what we take it for granted. We take it for granted that this is how it is. These are all feudal values. Feudal values, in the sense, in Europe it is called as feudal values, or in India you can think about all these zamindars. It is called as this. Many movies you would have seen, the sense that people working in field, the agriculture field, it is assumed that they belong to the person whose land it is. So all this are the feudal values. Okay? And but whether it is true biologically, socially, or psychologically, no, it is not true. Yeah. Lust does not work that way. Lust works, as I told you, you like that person. You think about it. When you have lust over somebody, will you think about disfiguring, or in the sense that even beating that person? It's not true. It's not possible at all. So the person who is doing all these things are these kinds of fellows who have these low self-esteem. Okay, so as a result of which this sexual harassment workplace became, and you can talk about this in something in GS paper 2. You can talk about this in GS paper 2. For example, there is something called as judicial activism. This they will teach you. Judicial activism is not a topic here, but in judicial activism is nothing but when there are 3 wings of in a government: executive, legislature, and judiciary. When the executive is not able to do its work properly, the judiciary overreaches its powers and it does its work. And for example, in this case, judicial activism, it overpowers the work of the parliament. So this has to be, or this should have been, this Vishaka judgment should have been done by the parliament. this law should have been passed by the parliament, but Anna, it did not pass. As a result of which, it did not add any Vishaka judgment. It did not add any Article 21, but it expanded Article 21. It expanded. You can write Article 21 was expanded. That is right to dignity, right to life and dignity, under which only this act was passed. You should, in the sense, that is the point. In the sense that why under Article 21 it was passed now, this word rape, this word, it means robbing. Okay, it is an old ancient Greek or Latin word. It means robbing. What in the sense that is robbing means you are robbing some property. Yeah, and if you consider this act, this thing as some property which you are robbing, you will have this stuff. You will have this kind of problems. But Anna, under Article 21, when you say that right to life and right to life with dignity. So you change the meaning. You are not robbing. Okay? You are actually violating dignity of a person. Violation of dignity. Okay, these two are different. Okay? Robbing na, I am a robber and that person has something which I am robbing. But Anna, this is exhaustive thing where you say that we are violating the dignity of a person and hence it has to be punished. This is a very huge change which happened in judiciary. But anyways, that is not an important issue. But Vishaka judgment, remember this. So this is the point. Third point we'll do. So this is about sexual harassment. Third point is education. Okay. Third point, if you see education, it is because of so many reasons. It is because of so many reasons. You can talk about what are all the reasons, causes. Okay. So many reasons you can say. First is patriarchy. In the sense, what we are discussing is why education is low. If you see, literacy rate will be 84, or for men it will be around more than or 90. For women it will be around 70. There will be a discrepancy. There will be a discrepancy of 20%. So 70% will be literate in women, 90% literate in men. This has been a thing for ever. So this gender gap, this is what is called as gender gap. Yeah, this gender gap has to be reduced. Yeah, it has to be made equal to 90. But why it is not being made? What are the causes? Why education is low? If you see, one is patriarchy. In patriarchy, you can talk about household works. And this is the point. Household works, how would you justify now? In economic survey, in economic survey, there is National Sample Organization. National Sample Organization. It has released a survey called as Time Use Survey. I think in paper also it came. Okay, Time Use Survey. This is how you write answers. You cannot just say that patriarchy, women do a lot of work in house, all of them. That will not give marks. You should justify your point. You should justify your tomorrow an IAS officer. You should justify your stand. Tomorrow, for example, you should not just go and say vaccination is low. You should say your point. This much money we spent, ordered, this many will come in this day, that many will come that day. So for example, in 1 month we can vaccinate this much. This is how you as a bureaucrat should be. Okay, and that is how you should write your answers also. You should just like saying patriarchy, household works they do, and hence it is not education is low, will not give you marks. What you should say, household works, and you should quote this Time Use Survey. It's an economic survey, you can check what this survey does. I think in this last class, when I said I checked on this one. In the case of networking, I said this, but here, if you see household works, so women majority of the work, majority of the times they spend in household work. Yeah, but men they spend a little less. So when you have this gap, you will have less time for education. So you will have less time for studying. So you will drop out. So we usually think that women are not that intelligent, but it is not true. It is because of, if you see the time they are able to spend, the time they are able to spend for education, or even this is a popular myth called as women are not good at science and maths. See the IIT result. Why? Because it is simply because of this IIT result. Why it is skewed like this now? It is because of this thing called as social engineering, where they do women means you study doctor, men means you study IIT. This is a thing which we have in everywhere. Okay, but when you are projecting that way, na, that is how it will happen. But women, for example, this book, if you I was reading this book. Yeah, this book is called as Code Breaker. Code Breaker. Yeah, nice book. Code Breaker by Walter Isaacson. It is about genetic engineering or gene editing. That is, you edit your gene. Yeah. Uh, it is predominantly because of this person got a Nobel in 2013. So UPSC prelims they keep asking this CRISPR-Cas9. Three times they asked in prelims, what is this? This is a gene editing tool. That is, you can edit your, like for example, scissor cutter madi idu. Okay, you can cut your gene and you do whatever you want. But why I showed you this. This was done by someone called as Doudna. She's a woman, and she, in the sense that she has done something. See, this will revolutionize science. Okay? Same way as Einstein. Okay? Next 50 years kapro, if you see, when maybe we all will go off or she will go off, but this will be one of the technology which will change this world. And this was done by, she is similar to Einstein now. So this argument that women are not good at science, it's not. It's very falling flat. It is all cultural myths which have been created for all these years. And mainly why is because of this patriarchy and the household works. And you should also know one other factor. I will show you this. Household works. For example, National Family Health Survey. You have four. It says water tap, yeah, water availability in households, it is very less in India. It is actually 40% or something. But we never imagine this fact. We never imagine this fact that 40% now, what is the point? All even Chennai, you will see, Chennai you can see, you can say that no, I also go and take water. Yeah, but Anna, you see the line which stands, it will always be those housewives. They will stand in line forever. Yeah, in Chennai, or in you can think about Rajasthan, deep Rajasthan. Who goes for picking up water? It will be mainly women. So when you are spending same 24 hours, then you have 24 hours, they have 24 hours. You can say, I go for taking money, making money, they have to take care of the household. That is why other reason. It's not that they don't or cannot do, but because of how society is structured, we find less people in education, less people in scientists, less people in science and maths. But Anna, how we change, I will show you. How we will change, I will show you. But first reason, yeah. So water, and you can talk about toilets same way. I think last class I would have told you, 14 years you need these toilets. At 14 years you need these toilets because of female maturity, or female puberty. Sorry, puberty. And but in India, same National Family Health Survey, same. It says that only 35% of the India is covered by toilets. When 35% of the India is covered by toilet, eighth standard dropouts will be very high for women. So this will be very high, sorry, high. So why it is high now? Instead of, that is what, instead of sending someone to a school without, it will be embarrassing. La. It is, you can think about, that is what, actually it is embarrassing for men also. But it has been normalized, it has been generalized. So you can just go and you can do whatever you want in streets and whatever other, it has been normalized. So no one sees that as a very bad thing. Okay, something is happening. But when a woman does that, it is not normalized. It is seen by, it is very seen as a very bad thing. Yeah. So we 35% of, not total coverage is 35. So toilet coverage in India, you please check this data. See, whatever data I am saying, I am saying out of memory. Yeah, I am saying out of memory. I am saying out of what I prepared. Yeah, it is your duty. It is your duty to go check the figures which I say, check the numbers which I say, check it and correct it accordingly. Okay, what I am saying is an approximate amount which I wrote in the paper. So I will use that. You should also know that National Family Health Survey 5 will be released very soon. You should use that data. You should not use National Family Health Survey 4. Okay, 4 when I was writing, I used that. National Family Health Survey will be released. It is not released now. It will be released very soon. You should use that data. Okay. So toilets is there. So I think any other reason, patriarchy, what other reason can be said? Why lowers education? Any other reason? Any other reason you feel? Any other reason you can just tell me. I'm also really so I took a class. So that is what I said. I took a class in Corona. Coronavirus is not a reason. You can talk about in the sense child marriage. Very good. Child marriage. Very good. So our child marriage. So marrying. So there is a report which says that 23%. Yeah, 23% of the women in India are married within 18. This 23% within 18, it will not be like 0 to 10. No, it will be 17 years old. Yeah. So just when they finish 12th standard, they will be married. It is 23% of the women in India are being married. See, this and all is a consequence. So think about it. 8th standard, you go to school and you don't have toilets. No. Assume that you don't have toilets and you drop out. Yeah, you drop out, so you'll be 14. So 3 years you will not do anything, you'll be at home. So immediately all this society will start asking questions that she's staying at home, she might love somebody. So immediately they will marry. This is the point which happens. So if she is studying for some more time now, some more extension can happen. But child marriage, yes, it is a correct reason. If any other reason you. You can write that. Okay. Mageshwar, you can write that. You can actually coronavirus in the sense that you can very well actually add these are all current events. But for coronavirus, digital divide. Okay, what? Digital divide. You can talk about the dropouts of both men, girl child and boy child. This happens for both. It will not be specific to boy or girl, but you can talk about girl child in the sense that coronavirus does increase this dropout, or this is going to affect. Okay, this is going to affect the child education like never before. So this is a very, I do not know how they are going. Anyways, so steps taken. Let us go to steps taken. Yes, this is what that is. Anyways, they are going to become housewife for the. That is what patriarchy la. So under patriarchy I discussed one point. This is the point. Patriarchy is a mindset. We discussed all the problems. La patriarchy, when you have a mindset, and hence what you do, you don't educate girl children. So that is true. Okay. So what are the steps taken? Steps is simple as we discussed now. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Why this? You think about it. Why they kept us till 14 years? Till 14 years. At least eighth they should finish. At least eighth. If you see what they say is that, again I will take this National Family Health Survey. Why this 14? What is this number? Okay, the point. What this suggests is that if you see, okay, if you see anyone who marries, so this is 0 to 14 and 14 to 18. Okay, if they are educated here, okay, if they are educated less than 8th, this is 8th, 14 is 8th standard. If they are educated less than 8th standard, that is if the mother is educated less than 8th standard, the child grows to be weak. You can ask me how. Okay, it is one example I will tell you. Okay, in coronavirus, vaccine is there. This vaccine hesitancy is long. Hesitancy will be very high. It will be very high in educated population also. It can be high for anyone. But Anna, think about it, when a mother is educated below 8th standard, there are so many vaccines, polio, hepatitis, TB, so many vaccines. If one person says that this vaccine, it is creating a lot of problem, this mother who is sitting at home, who is not educated, she is educated less than 8th, she will believe that. So less vaccination, less vaccination, less nutrition to the child. So, but next, same patriarchy will be propagated. Same, this less than 8th, this woman will make her girl child not study. Simple, because she has been brought up in one way, she will make the girl child also not study. But Anna, think of when what the sample survey, this survey says, or you can talk about domestic violence. Yeah, domestic violence. Actually, domestic violence, sexual harassment, we saw people having low self-esteem, beating. Same domestic violence also same now. It happens in house. Yeah. If you see below 8th, this is high. Many things high. But after, if they are educated above, we have kept it as a cutoff 14. If they reach that age and education is given till that nutrition is high, the education of children is high, awareness is high. Awareness, when it is high, they will have total fertility rate low. That is, what is this total fertility rate? Number of children per woman. Why this is number of children is means, it is a very simple factor. When you are 8th standard, you will start getting autonomy, or you will start getting to know who you are as a person. When you are educated till 8th, you will start knowing who you are and what is your roles and responsibility, rights, ellame therinjirum. When you know that, you will understand that you are not just a baby making machine. But less than 8 na, you will assume that you are only for baby making now. But after 8th na, baby making machine illa abdina, once you get to understand this. That is why, how do you reduce population? So how do you reduce, for example, population? Can you say g boomba population will reduce, or no? This is the way. This is the way. You have to educate women. You have to make them cross that 8th standard. And when you do that, nutrition of the child will improve, education will improve, awareness improve, everything will improve. And that is why we do all these why all these things now. It has a very large social movement. And Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, if you see what the next point, if in Tamil Nadu, general, you can talk about midday meal scheme. And in Tamil Nadu, it is like it is seen as a, that is what it is seen as a freebie. The word itself is wrong. Freebie, 2-3 points. Freebies, like for example, you give freebies like alcohol, freebies like during elections, alcohol, money, very wrong. Second freebie, this washing machine, this and all wrong. Yeah, washing machine, it is not, they promised that, but they knew that they are not going to win, and hence they promised. But Anna, that and all remove. But there is something called as laptops. There is something called as cycle. These are all essential. These are all essential. Earlier, if you see, it was not cycle, bus pass. So I was a late 80s kid, so I used to travel in bus, Pallavan bus. So I used to travel during my school time, and going to cinemas and all. I used to travel in bus a lot. At that time, if I used to see that most of the girl children who come to the school, they will have this bus pass, and boy children, both, they will have this bus pass. We will be going to some movie. At that time also, this bus pass will be used. See, you cannot make distinction. This is, you are not going to school. You have to give overall universalization. Universalization, when it comes, the discretion will be less. Another Tamil Nadu, if you see, most of the things will be universalized, and it will lead to corruption. Definitely, it is going to lead to corruption. There is no other, no matter. But Anna, what change is it is bringing? Other point. For example, you think about the cycle and all. In Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, it is said that the school should be within 2 or 3 kilometers. Okay? But Anna, what will happen is that school will be here, but many villages will be concentrated. It will be like this. Many villages, it will be in a concentric circle. So one person will come, and as this circle keeps increasing, the distance keeps increasing. 6 kilometers and 9 kilometers. This keeps increasing, and you should know that many a times bus. See, if bus pass is given, it is okay in city, but in rural areas you have to get money, and you will also have something called as harassment. This male, that is male patriarchal feeling is more in rural areas. So a girl goes to school, they will start harassing her. And hence, if you give them cycle, simple or change it. You give them cycle, they'll just go and they'll just come. It will be like an empowering. This is what is called as empowerment. This is This is not freebie. This is empowering some person to live with dignity. So you get to go to a school without getting harassed, without having any problems, and you increase the. At the end of the day, what you do, you increase education. At the end of the day, you increase education, and when you increase education, you increase the productivity of the population, you decrease the population. Evlo repercussions irukku parunga. One thing da, one investment we make in cycle, we make some investment. Whether it is they'll make corruption out of this, they will definitely make corruption out of this. That I also agree. Okay, I don't disagree with that fact. Okay, I am not arguing that. Okay, okay. See, that is the point. Oh, now also, okay, okay, okay. But when I was there in 90s, so I used to go to school and all in bus. Yeah, it was a very nice thing. But anyways, so this is education. Okay, this is about education. Many steps, midday meal scheme. You can talk about all the schemes, education, la Kasturiba Vidyalika, or giving hostel facilities. You can talk about hostel facilities. Hostel facilities for women. Many, whatever you come to mind, you can have that. Okay, va? Next is this. Next is this concept. So one thing we discussed. Next is this labor force participation rate. Okay, labor force this is an economic survey. Labor force participation rate, that is how many women participate in labor force of India. Okay, it is, if you see, it is astonishingly low. 23% of the women, that is in the working age population, that is in the, for example, 18 to or 15 to 60. In this working age, this is called as working age. Okay? Less than 15 na working age kadiyadu. Less than 15, see, from 0 to 14 you have to go to school. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan irukku. After 15 now. So when you are completing this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, you will come out and you have to, you can work wherever you go, to garments industry, whatever work you do. But then you study means you will have a higher skilled labor. That is different. But now come to this point where it is said that labor force participation rate in India is 23%. And if you see, we are aiming for a GDP of $5 trillion. This $5 trillion with the 75% of the population not working, this is not possible at all. When 75% of the population is not productive, and this is a very serious thing which we have to know. This has an economic consequence. And what are all the causes? So you can think about the causes. Same way, causes: marriage. I think last class we discussed this. Marriage. So when you are married now, you will have kids. Okay, maybe I'll write here. Okay, I'll write. So I'll write here. Yeah. So marriage you can talk. That is, you will have kids, and in order to have take care of them, same time use survey. Time use survey says maximum amount of time spent by women in household is high, men is low. This survey you can write here. When it is there now, what you do, you actually resign your job. Yeah. So, and obviously this will reflect here, la. So next is harassment. That is why we have, what steps we have taken is sexual Vishaka judgment. That is why many things will overlap. Okay? Many things will overlap, but I'm not just saying why 23%. So most of the time it happens to be sexual harassment also. Many women actually resign. This I myself know. Many of my friends resign. So many, I think, both the reason. So they resigned not because of, only because of harassment. Both reason. So kids came and they faced a lot of harassment. Not by one, not by two, three, four, not like that. Some harassment happened in workplaces. It keeps happening everyday basis. So when you have kids, you start thinking, why do break our heads here? We can just go and be a housewife. So this is something which happened, and this is resulting in 23%. With the point. And you can also talk about patriarchy. That is, you can talk about, for example, time. What is this time now? In for example, time, at what time someone goes to work. So at what time someone goes to work. Most often this 9 to 5 na, they will accept. but night jobs. But mostly, you know, I think in software it comes in shift 9 to 5 once it will come, but many a times you have to shift. But when you are shifting na, that will create a problem. What is this patriarchy na? When you come at night, when a boy comes, it is different, but a girl comes now, it will obviously create ripples, and this is one of the reasons. So this is why it is low. And steps taken, same. Now steps taken, you can talk about how all these are removed in Pathakonga. Yeah. And I think this will be enough. Okay, one more topic is there, but you can take the points. One more topic is political participation. Okay, in India, I will tell the data. Political participation, which I mean MPs, member of parliaments. In India, uh, ADR, I think Association for Democratic Rights. Please check this. There is an NGO, Association for Democratic Rights. But check this. They released this data. Reforms are okay. Democratic reforms. So they released this data which says that in India MPs it is 14%. Okay, there are 50% women, 50% men. So see the representation which is there. So what is the causes? What is the consequences? You please check these two. Okay, same, it will overlap. Patriarchy causes many things, harassment, everything will overlap. And the consequences, think about it. As a result of which, low participation of women. Consequences, you think of in the sense that women related policies are low. Women related policy will be low. Allocation will be low. uh, and this actually creates a ripple. So many things you can talk about. So I think this will be enough. Okay. Any other doubt? Okay. Shall we close? Is it okay? Shall we close? Okay. Okay. Good night. Bye. Okay. Bye. See you. Good night. Stay safe. Stay safe.